Hey guys, it's time to Nefis and chill. In this video, we'll be talking about something that has become quite a problematic for a lot of ESO players, particularly on PC Europe and most likely PCNA. Recently I tweeted out that the continuing hyperinflation of gold, or rather the value of gold on PC Europe in ESO is quite worrying. PCNA inflation in comparison is, not as bad, but still is noticeable and has been increasing as of late. Meanwhile, console players are still buying or selling crowns at 100 to 1 or 100 gold to 1 crown. And this is not an indication of, this is more so an indication of the value of gold, more so than it is about just the crowns or the crown exchange. And of course, a lot of people asked, why is it so bad? And also, why is consoles still trading crowns for 100 to 1 while PC EU and PCNA are, selling crowns to gold for 2,000 to 1 or 3,000 to 1, or on PCNA it's more specifically like 700 to 1,000 to 1. And I'll show you guys the numbers here, and these screenshots are primarily from the World Crown Exchange, and there's also data that you can see from Crown Black Market, which is EU, and of course other Crown exchanges, and I'll list their Discord servers for anyone interested. But yeah, it's really interesting to note the stark differences in Crown to Gold exchange ratios. However, I'm not really here to talk about that. This is again more of a symptom of inflation. Just to kind of give you a summary in case people watching the video don't know what inflation is. Economic inflation is when the value of the primary currency goes down in proportion to rising costs or increases for amenities or products and other things you'd want to buy. For example, let's say it costs $1 to buy 5 candy bars. However, the value of that dollar has gone down to where now you need $3 to buy 5 candy bars. Really simple thing here. And if you're interested in stuff like that, well, this is probably not the channel for that. But I'm trying to simplify this because in the real world, we do have inflation, and economic inflation is unavoidable. And as an ESO economy or an in-game economy, inflation is also unavoidable. And the sources of inflation often come from, at least as far as ESO goes, often come from the value of gold, either rising or decreasing. So this often has to do with population, demand, supply, and various other factors. So for a really good example here, often I'm asked, what is the most populated ESO platform and server? And my answer is always PC Europe. There's a few reasons as to why I say this, and it's based on, educated guesses. For example, if anyone remembers the multi-bidding fiasco where all the guild traders bugged out 2 years ago, actually, in 2019, where all the EU guilds bidding for traders simply bugged out, didn't get their gold back, or some other weird stuff happened, and EU guilds that bid like 10k or something got it instead of the EU guilds that bid at 10 mil. Long story short, it messed up a lot of things. But it didn't happen that same week on PCNA. So this told me a lot of things back then. I think this was before even I was like privy to some of the information I know now. But this told me that there's a higher population of players, guilds, and actions going on PCEU compared to PCNA, which is probably why often you'll see PCEU getting cucked more often than PCNA in terms of server maintenance and issues that arise. And that made sense to me. And from personal experience going to PCU and comparing to my experiences of PCNA, definitely seemed a lot more lively at all periods of times. So again, population plays a huge part because when you have a huge population, you also have a huge production of gold, whether that's through people doing daily crafting writs, whether that's people, flipping stuff, grinding stuff, selling things, etc. You'll have the value of gold go down because there's more gold in the game. And that's why you'll see, for example, with the crowns, PCEU crowns being sold at a much higher rate of gold to crown than PCNA. We're talking more than double here at this point. For example, if PCU is selling gold, crowns, not gold, crowns for 2,500 to 1, PCNA is going to be selling for like 900, 800 to 1. But beyond that, there's also things like other influences, and I have to mention this because if I don't mention it, people will mention it. And of course, I don't at all advise getting into it because it is against terms of service, but we also have to consider other factors such as gold buying and gold selling. So there is actual, value of gold in terms of real money. And this goes not just for buying crowns and then, exchanging crowns for gold, but also farming gold and buying gold and selling gold to players. So the value of that, for example, the last I've been told by a player this is that's like $3 for 1 million PC gold. So imagine that. And, that will have a heavy influence on the in-game markets as far as certain things go, like materials, like chromium platings, and, of course, crowns and so forth like that. So now we kind of get to the issue at hand, because it is quite a complex problem, and there's no easy solution here. Because, again, it has a lot of factors and variables that I haven't even really touched on, but for the sake of the length of the video, I did ask other people's opinions, because to me, I think it's a definitely an issue of too much gold. And so it's like we need to reduce the amount of gold within the game. And this kind of goes back to having gold sinks. And for those of you who don't know what gold sinks within the game are a really easy example. You buy something from the NPC, that gold does not go to another player, it just goes into the game. Your 7% guild sales tax, 3.5% of that 7% goes back into the game. When you bid on traders, all that gold goes into the game. A lot of people think crown exchanging is gold sinks. It's not. It's just moving the gold around to other players. You still have this enormous supply of gold. And I also asked Artea, or ESO professor of economy, Artea. She also has a very cool YouTube channel you guys should check out if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of trading and ESO in-game markets and stuff like that, or if you want to learn how to make gold. But I asked her, hey, how do you think, what potential solutions could be? What do you think potential solutions could be for solving this hyperinflation, especially on PCEU? And she said, what we have been observing for a while now is an increased rate of consumption. Example, purchasing materials to upgrade gear in light of constantly shifting meta, or to craft furnishings to fill all the new homes that keep coming out. With no increased rate of production, people actually collecting those materials from rich surveys, harvesting those, etc., to then list in the market. Perhaps if ZOS were to implement more of those double node events, or any other kind of event that could help significantly boost the supply or availability of these items, prices would naturally falter. We observe this kind of pattern during every anniversary or jubilee event, for example. And then she goes on to say, in addition to this, implementing more gold sinks, I think, would also be a great means to combat inflation. Remove large sums of gold from the game so that the wealth does not get transferred to another player. Perhaps something like a developer-ran auction or lottery could serve as an additional gold sink, where the winner would receive something really neat, like a home or a mount, and the gold spent would disappear from the in-game economy. Just a thought. And of course, this kind of goes back to why I want to make this video. It's not just only an interesting topic, but it's something that affects every player. Doesn't matter if you're new, doesn't matter if you're a veteran player. I've had a lot of players complain to me, hey, like, I have to do like 3 carries or something to afford anything at this point. Even content creators like Dots is saying, hey, yeah, it's been getting tougher to theory crafting. So the inflation of gold just is gonna be affecting everybody at every level. So I figured that you guys should know about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for enough and chilling, and see you guys next time.